obviously mentorship comes in many forms and shapes and sizes. But having the mentorship both in the practice from my medical director, Dr. Barrera, that's more hands-on, and then the mentorship and kind of support, I guess would be the better term, from Dr. Trimble and the rest of the network has been just amazing, and really what drew me towards this practice.
Hey everyone, I'm your host, Courtney Post, and this is Let's Vet Together by Suveto, a show where we'll be highlighting stories of growth, ownership, and well-being in the veterinary industry and having real conversations about how we can make veterinary medicine better for everyone. If this is your first time listening, welcome. We're glad you're here. If you've already been a part of our community, make sure to follow us on whatever platform you're listening from and give us a review to let us know how we're doing. We really appreciate you for coming back. Welcome to Let's Vet Together, our podcast where I get to sit down with some awesome people, especially doctors within our Suveto network. Today, I'm super excited to be sitting down with Dr. Tristen Cruz, a fairly recent grad, and we'll dive into that, who is a part of our Go Business Fellowship, our graduation to ownership program. Dr. Cruz, thank you for being here today. I'm super excited to be doing this.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for the invite. Really looking forward to chatting and, seeing where this goes.
So am I. So how we always kick off on Let's Vet Together is you do a little introduction of yourself. And if you have done so today, which spoiler, I know you have, can you share with us a local treat that you brought with you as you share kind of who you are, where you're from, and why you decided to bring the treat that you did today?
Yeah. So obviously, Courtney already introduced me. I'm Dr. Tristen Cruz. I'm a veterinarian at Comal Pet Hospital, which is a practice in New Braunfels, Texas, which is smack dab in the middle between San Antonio and Austin. So kind of central Texas, heart of central Texas. Originally from deep South Texas, down by the Texas-Mexico border. But, really like the central Texas area just from the times I've visited. And really like some of the opportunities that not only Suveto, but the Go program brought. And, like this clinic, so ended up here. As far as treat I brought some Buc-ee's kolaches, which for those that are not from Texas or of Czech heritage, kolaches are a Czech pastry. Central Texas is kind of culturally very Czech and German, at least in its origins. And so, Czech pastries and Czech food is kind of a staple around here. And Buc-ee's is also, you think of Texas, you think of Buc-ee's. Founder of Buc-ee's and myself are both Aggie grads, so I went to Texas A&M for both undergrad and vet school. Very proud of my school, and
I would expect nothing less from a Texan than to be proud of your school and your state and some delicious pastries, Dr. Cruz. I love that. And I have not had a kolache, but it is now on my short list for the next time I'm in Texas.
Yeah, they are awesome. Pretty much, to be honest, I pretty much eat them every morning. That's my go-to.
So. Yeah, kolache and a coffee. Count me in. Count me in. So, Dr. Cruz, you shared that you went to A&M, and I would love to hear a little bit more about your journey there, from undergrad to veterinary school. Like, what led you down that path to really, be where you are today in veterinary medicine?
Yeah, for sure. So, A&M, Texas A&M kind of runs in my family. My dad graduated from there. I've got a lot of cousins that went there. And, cousin that's still there right now in undergrad. And so, just kind of was pretty natural fit. It's an agricultural school at heart. Basically started as an ag and engineering school. Now it obviously has pretty much every degree under the sun that you could ever imagine, being one of the biggest schools in the U.S., if not the biggest. And, growing up, my dad's best friend was a veterinarian, Dr. Crouch. And so from a young age, I'm talking like 4 or 5 years old, started going on calls. He was a mixed animal vet. So saw a lot of large animals. I grew up on a farm. My dad and I still raise show pigs.
Oh, nice.
Um,
I did not
and
know that.
so, yeah, so, um, you know, kind of a farm boy at heart. And really what led me to vet med is kind of the lack of veterinarians that work on show animals, which for those of you not familiar, it's like at the state fair, kids exhibit their projects. And it's a little bit of a weird thing just because those animals have more value than just their market weight. And so it's a really difficult thing to balance as a veterinarian seeing those animals. Because you kind of have a treatment plan for like a commercial cow, but obviously these owners are probably a little bit more willing to go further and do more things, more similar to like a dog or a cat, just because
Sure.
they have a lot invested in these animals. It's their kids' projects. So that's what led me kind of to A&M. Was an animal science major in undergrad, and then in vet school. In vet school, obviously I still love large animal. I do a little bit of large animal work in my free time, mainly show animals, pretty much only show animals actually.
Yeah.
Um, you know, through kind of my classes, speaking with some of my older veterinarian professors, they're like, look, large animal medicine is really, really hard to make kind of a living at. Um, it's very affected by cattle markets, hog markets, and the like. And most of the time, people aren't willing to spend any money to do diagnostics and to do kind of advanced treatments um, on a commercial animal that's set for consumption.
Sure.
So didn't want to go the large animal route entirely. So decided I'm going to do small animal medicine and then do some show animal medicine on the side, because that's really what brought me into vet med is the show animal stuff.
I love that you are staying true to your passion, Dr. Cruz, that you can have your business life and your professional life. And I happen to know you are having a highly successful entrance, into small animal medicine. You're doing a fantastic job kind of leaning into this new world of practicing medicine, but you get to stay true to your passions as well. And still, practice and support large animals through some of your show work. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's and that's another thing that kind of led me to Suveto versus some of the other clinics that I'd interviewed at and had interest in, is Suveto as a whole, and especially Comal, the practice itself, were very supportive of letting me do that stock show medicine on the side. I made sure during kind of the whole interview process that everyone knew that was something that was important to me, and something I didn't want to give up. Um,
And
you
that
know,
is a side note for any of our new grads listening, or even associate veterinarians, or truly anyone in their professional career. It's important to communicate what's important to you. That you can have passions and things that you are non-negotiables for you in your professional life, and to communicate those to find the right fit. So I think that's an important tidbit for anyone, but particularly new grads. While you're trying to find the perfect job, stay true to some of your non-negotiables as well.
for sure. Yeah, I think that's extremely important, because you can get into a position where you're unhappy and not happy with kind of the way your contract's set up or your schedule set up. And a lot of times it's not even the clinic or the practice manager, network's fault. It's just you didn't voice those concerns, so they have no idea that that's something that you are passionate or care about.
Right. Agreed. So let's talk a little bit about Kamal as well as the Go program.
Yeah,
So, what had been your exposure? It sounds like you spent some time, a lot of time, not a little time, a lot of time with your dad's best friend in his practice as an owner. But, throughout your time in vet school, I'm sure that you were in and out of some other practices as
yep,
well.
for sure.
So what were you looking for as as it pertains to a practice outside of being able to still work with your show animals? What within the walls of the practice were you looking for, as well as what opportunity led you to or interest led you to to consider the GO program?
Yeah. So to be completely honest and transparent, prior to finding Comal, I had never heard of Suveto as a network, never heard of the GO program. It was all very, very foreign, very new. Knew I wanted to end up in the Central Texas area, so got on AVMA and some of the other job boards, started looking for clinics. Started off with a list of about 20 clinics, and I wrote down another list of, I'm very list and like have to have things written down or it just isn't going to stick in my head. Another list of things that were important to me. Obviously, like you said, the show stock stuff is very important. Number two is I really wanted to have a good work-life balance. Growing up in a clinic, in a private practice, saw, the owners of that clinic, that pretty much became their whole life. That's what they did. They were on call multiple times a week. If there was ever a problem, they had to go fix it, whether that be, hey, the toilet's clogged in the lobby bathroom, or we have a massive emergency coming in, we're swamped, we don't have anybody here, on their day off would have to go in and take care of it. Right. So I think that's, one of the things that Suveto as a whole is keeps very important. Obviously, I know we have some emergency clinics that, hours are a little bit different, but even talking to some of my colleagues that work at those places, work-life balance is still something that's kind of put to the forefront and made a priority rather than kind of an afterthought. The other thing I was looking for in a clinic, kind of the biggest thing, was obviously all the new grads and just veterinarians that have been out of school even know in vet school, you practicing that ivory tower medicine. Obviously, we don't have access to all the fancy equipment that we had at A&M, but I really still wanted to be able to practice and offer gold standard medicine, not cut corners, do referrals when appropriate. That's and kind of try to practice as close to that ivory tower gold standard as we can, while still being, affordable and accessible to our clients. You don't have to go. Texas is a big state. College Station from here is 2.5 hours away. There's some referral clinics in San Antonio and Austin, but even that's an hour each direction. So being able to offer gold standard medicine at the local level was something that was important to me. And that's pretty much what, narrowed it down between two clinics, Comal being one, and then another practice that I interviewed at being another, that one being a private practice. And what really set apart those two clinics was learning about the GO program. I'm still not entirely sure, and I wasn't when I joined the program, that ownership or medical director is going to be the way I want to, flesh out my career and eventually end up. That's still a decision I'm going to have to make down the road. But I just thought having the opportunity to learn the bit more so in the business side and the leadership side was just a really unique opportunity. And the fact that it wasn't necessarily something that was going to be extra, it was going to be something that was a part of, my job for the first couple of years of my career, I thought was a really unique opportunity. Top that with, we get to talk to some of the most, I guess I don't want to say renowned or regarded because that sounds kind of suck up like, but some of the best people in the veterinary industry to have as mentors. Shout out Dr. Trimble and Dr. Tina Daughtery.
Absolutely, the best of the best.
Yeah, they, they take a really caring role in mentoring, even though they're, hours and hundreds of miles, thousands of miles away. Obviously mentorship comes in many forms and shapes and sizes. But having the mentorship both in the practice from a medical director, Dr. Barrera, that's more hands-on, and then the mentorship and kind of support, I guess would be the better term, from Dr. Trimble and the rest of the network has been just amazing, and really what drew me towards this practice.
Veterinary students, are you ready to take ownership of your future? If so, kickstart your career as a doctor with Harbor Go. GO, or Graduation to Ownership, is an all-new veterinary business fellowship designed to fast-track your growth as a doctor and as a practice leader. Master your clinical skills and learn the intricacies of practice ownership in a 2-year experiential learning journey unlike any other. So whether you do it now or after you listen to this podcast, visit harbor.vet/go and get going toward the veterinary career of your dreams.
You make a couple good points, right? The GO program is, named after a graduation to ownership track, but it's not just for individuals that say, I know I want to be an owner and I'm on a 5-year track or a 10-year track to do that. It's not just for folks that say, in 5 years, I'm going to be a medical director in my practice. This is about leaning into kind of the growth opportunities with and the leadership opportunities of being a veterinarian, a great practicing veterinarian. It's getting to know the business a little bit better. It's getting to know yourself a little bit better. It's getting to know the practice that you're working in a little bit better. And yes, that's built into your normal working schedule because, and I'm sure, you've heard this a bunch, but we live by 3 pillars within Suveto, and it's ownership of taking ownership of your professional and personal life. That doesn't mean actual literal ownership all the time. Growth, learning what we can learn, developing what we can, where we can, and then well-being. And the well-being portion is about this community. We've always been really committed to that community, and having the resources and support in that community that you called out, Dr. Trimble, Dr. Tina Doherty, the best of the best. And I'm curious, Dr. Cruz, what you feel like have been your biggest takeaways so far in the GO program. You're coming up on 8 months, almost in the program. What have you learned about yourself? What have you been able to tangibly kind of learn about how you practice in the practice that you're in? I'm just curious, what have been your biggest takeaways so far?
Yeah. So kind of the first, I started in July, graduated in May, started working basically July 1st. It was actually end of June, but July 1st. So coming up on, about 7-8 months now. And kind of my biggest takeaways, which I have a really hard time with this, but just keep hearing over and over again, have confidence in what you're doing. Just because you're a new grad doesn't mean you don't know. Obviously you don't know everything, but you're a good vet, and just the support has been unreal. Hear from obviously a lot of my classmates that aren't in similar situations. Everything from private practice in rural Kansas to working for other corporations in downtown Houston. They're not getting the support that I am through, like I said, both the hands-on mentorship and the virtual mentorship. And really, honestly, the biggest takeaway, which in Philly, we had kind of our GO conference, I guess you would call it, our workshop, and just meeting, 20 something other people that are all in basically the same spot as you. It's comforting. I don't know if it's the right word, but it's just really reassuring that you're on the right track. Mm-hmm. Just because, you're hearing similar struggles, you're hearing similar, I had this really rough case. I tried to explain it to the client. They just weren't understanding. They were combative, or, I had this case. I didn't know what to do. And it's just similar stories, and it just reassures that you're on the right track. And because, a lot of times you're the only new grad in a practice. And so just having other people that you can share experiences with, I think it makes it a lot easier. So that's really the biggest thing. Obviously, the leadership stuff has been great. Learning about the business side has been great, but really just the support and kind of the community has been, in my opinion, the best part about it.
So glad to hear that. And when everyone came together in the fall, and I watched, all of the GO participants, in person. All I wanted to do was just kind of step back and see you all interact, because it doesn't, it's not lost on me, the pressure that is on a new grad, that you've gone through, kind of this really rigorous education, and you're expected to step out and just know how to practice, right? And there's a long road ahead of finding your confidence and knowing that, that you have the skills and the tools to be successful. And also knowing you're not alone in that is a really powerful kind of tool. And it was fun to watch you all interact and talk about what's going really well and where there's been struggles, and to hear that it's often just so similar. And now, the time I get to spend with you all, kind of virtually, I love the sharing of good cases and bad, because I feel like everyone is learning from that. So, it's really special.
Yeah, and I definitely think, being able to meet in person, even now, makes things a lot more comfortable and easy to share virtually. I feel like in today's day and age, not to sound old, I'm only 26, but you get on social media and you only see the good stuff.
Yeah.
You don't see any of the bad. And being able to really share some of the bad and some of the suck has been, in my opinion, probably the best part of Go so far. Just because, like you said, you don't feel so alone.
Yeah. So moving beyond, and I love this, the suck, right? Because that's real. That is part of life. What are you most excited to kind of learn or accomplish within the Go program? Like, what's next for you? What are you looking forward to say, you know what, I can see the horizon, and I'm excited to kind of tackle this or learn that within the program?
Yeah. So obviously this month's dental month. I feel like that is probably my biggest struggle in practice. I feel like we didn't get a ton of good education on that in school. Just not enough hands-on time. And so, really this month I've been waiting for, because I need to learn how to do dentals better, which obviously it's not just about dentals, but we're using dentals to kind of talk about some other initiatives.
Yeah.
And I think just, really getting more info on how to better assess our clients and what their needs are is kind of what I look forward to the most. Learning more how to do that. Even just something as simple as, at one of the first classes or meetings we had, Dr. Trimble said, don't be afraid to ask a client what their goals are for their pet. Everybody views their animal as different. Some people it's their baby, and some people it's just another dog. And so finding those goals has been really helpful in setting expectations and how to approach things, and kind of not necessarily what to offer, because obviously we always offer gold standard, but thinking about how to offer it. What are is it going to be more so, hey, this is, this panel, it includes all these labs, normally all separate would cost X amount. You can get it for this discounted rate. Or, I really think Fluffy needs this panel because we want to catch any early signs of disease to make sure that we can give him the best care. And for every client, that's going to be a different approach.
Right.
And so I think the biggest takeaways as far as, from a business aspect is better understanding your populace, your clients, community. We're going to start taking some more time to do community outreach stuff at Kamal, try and build our populace, build our clientele, and show that we're carrying part of the community. And I think that's been, kind of reiterated and emphasized in Go.
Yeah.
Is to make sure that the people around know, what you guys are providing, and, better understanding what your clients' needs are. So
Absolutely.
Looking forward to learning more about that, and kind of how to better serve our communities.
They're lofty goals, and I am confident that you will achieve them, Dr. Cruz. I can see the impact that you're making, and what you bring to not only the group, but also your community and your practice, and continue to communicate your needs and what you're excited about as well. I think that's also as we're doing deep life lessons here, right? Communicate what's important to you, and then constantly communicate what you're excited to learn and what you want your goals in the future, because, we can continue to shape the program to that, which is, the kind of the beauty of the Go program. It's also will give you, what you need at that moment. Dr. Trimble and Dr. Tina, can shape a lot of that, the content and the interaction we have for that. So, for, future current Aggies, and then for everyone else that goes to the other vet schools, Dr. Cruz, what's some of your words of advice, whether it be as they navigate vet school or navigate, finding a first job, maybe considering the Go program? Any words of advice?
Yeah, as far as vet school goes, definitely find your tribe. I think that's important. It kind of sounds cliche, but I'm a COVID vet. So COVID broke out during my second semester of first year. And at that point, I still really hadn't found my group of people. Mm-hmm. We got back into school first semester, second year, about halfway through, and really found, my group. There's 8 of us. And I just feel like even to this day, if I have a tough case, I can, send in our group message, hey, I've got this dog. These are the symptoms. I'm thinking this. I've done these diagnostics. What are your guys' thoughts? And I mean, obviously not everybody can reply all the time because everybody's busy. They've got their own jobs. But, getting back feedback from your peers is really important. And I feel like even just the Go program, I have the same kind of thing where I can discuss cases with people. But definitely find your people. Vet school is really hard, and it can be very daunting. And having support in that building or in that class, I feel like is really important. So find your group, no matter how big or small that is, would be my advice for vet school. As far as for finding a job, again, to reiterate, make sure what's important to you and what you want is also something that clinic can provide, whether that be in the network or not. It's really important to find a place that fits you, not only from like a cultural, perspective, in a workplace environment, but also in a place that can provide you with what you need. Because if not, you're never going to be satisfied. And that's
great. It's great advice.
Burnout and mental health is something that this industry as a whole faces a lot of issues with. And so, finding a place where you feel happy to be at work, the people around you. I mean, it's been great at Kamal. People around you make you feel comfortable and excited to go to work. It's really important.
Yeah, I agree. And find a place that has a Buc-ee's on the way to work when you're driving, right?
That's for sure. Yeah. I live about 3 minutes away from a Buc-ee's, so
perfect.
Very
I'll be
convenient.
en route to the practice. So good morning and motivation. So, well, thank you for doing this. I super appreciate it. I know you're busy. I know you have busy days in the practice. So I so appreciate you taking the time to chat with me, Dr. Cruz. And thank you for being a part of, this first class of Go, and being vulnerable and trusting us to, kind of navigate these waters with you. You're a really integral part of this initial class. So I really appreciate you.
For sure. And thank you again for the invite on. It's been fun to kind of share my story and how things are going after the first almost getting close to a year, but 8 months.
Getting close. Well,
doesn't feel like it's been that long. But
yeah.
Time flies.
Well, thank you. And we will talk to you soon.
Yep, of course. You have a great one.